because I value my past. The memories of yesterday can never be changed, but they give me a reason to live again. There is a reason I am here today, but there is no reason you lost your lives. You were called abusive names, deprived of rights to be humans, slayed because of who you were born. I am lighting a candle as the sign of resilience. I'm paying a tribute. You left a legacy, and I'm a fruit from the love you sowed. Let's say never again to genocide. There should be no war. There should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again to genocide. Let's say never again to genocide. I was young, I still needed you, but you were taken away from me too soon. If I had one wish, it would be seeing you again. Today we're strong men and women, even though you are not here to see. We're carrying on to make you feel proud out there, watching down on us. I am lighting a candle as the sign of resilience. I'm paying a tribute. You left a legacy, and I'm a fruit from the love you sowed. Let's say never again to genocide. There should be no war. There should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again to genocide. Let's say never again to genocide. I am a witness that if you and I come together as one, we can make sure genocide never happens again. History should be told and passed on to further generations. Let's all stand up and all sing out, never again to genocide. Let's say never again to genocide. There should be no war. There should be no genocide. Anyway, let's say never again to genocide. Let's say never again to genocide. We are here as one nation. We say never again. We unite as human race. We say never again to genocide. Never again to genocide. Never again.
Stand with Ambazonia. Empower ABC Amba TV. We are calling on Ambazonians around the world to unite and uplift ABC Amba TV, Ambazonian Broadcasting Corporation. In this critical time of war, ensuring the station's survival is more important than ever. But what does ABC Amba TV truly represent for Ambazonia?
At the heart of Ambazonia's war of independence, ABC Amba TV stands as a beacon. Years of recolonization, annexation, and French Cameroon's oppressive occupation of the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia have led to our exclusion. Our identity was hidden, our history distorted, our sovereignty denied. Queen of England is aware that the British Southern Cameroons were never a colony under France.
Since its inception in 2018, ABC Amba TV has been our lifeline.
Months of diplomacy have failed to resolve the crisis as fear grows over an imminent Russian invasion of Ukraine.
Our work in the dark is our chance to tell our stories to the world, to give voice to the voiceless, and broadcast the truth of our struggle.
We are serious about executing this revolution.
It has become a vital arm of our government in wartime, making diplomacy achievable and showcasing our untold stories.
ABC Amba, you guys know how important ABC is for this, our quest for international recognition.
Your donations can make a world of difference. Every bit of support helps keep our stories alive, our presence known, and our fight in the global conversation.
The moment they notice that we are no longer on air, they think that, oh, maybe La Republic has succeeded. This is about Ambazonia. One thing we must always remember.
Where would we be without ABC Amba TV? Let's ensure we never have to find out.
A revolution is a temporary state of insanity to bring about sanity.
Mobilize, donate, stand with Ambazonia. Donate to ABC Amba TV.
Together, let's write the next chapter of our history.
It is better to light the candle than to curse the dark.
Support ABC Amba TV campaign. Ambazonia Independence, voice for the voiceless. Mobilize for change.
Good evening, fellow Ambazonians, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to another week with us, another weekend with us. This is Ambazonia This Week. I'm sure you would have seen the caption. Lots of you have called after seeing the caption. And the question is ABC Amba TV truly off air? What is amazing is the fact that even those at the home front that should be complaining about ABC off air are not complaining, but you have some throws in the diaspora, La Republique du Cameroun proxies, enemies of the struggle, imbeciles, primitive people, trying to talk about things they know nothing about. It's unfortunate that I'll be starting an important weekend conversation on this note. We use this weekend always with the lawyers and other analysts from government to scope through the war as it is unfolding, analyzing and educating our people on things or of things that are necessary and considerations that need to be made. Unfortunately for us, the past week has been full of a lot of nuances, unnecessary diplomatic, or should I say political conversation in some of our forums. And so that's why you're going to see the caption, The Diplomat. So we'll be going back into or deepening our conversation into aspects of diplomacy. A diplomat, who is a diplomat? What are diplomatic outreaches? What is the importance? Does that negate or does that give a room for any individual who perhaps has coordinated a diplomatic initiative or a diplomatic outreach to ignore our constitutionality. The first character of a diplomat is someone who understands that every people, a law, every government is governed with a constitution, and who understands hierarchy and understands how to speak publicly. The first lesson, I am doing international relations and diplomacy in my postgraduate studies. One of the first lessons you get in anything that has to do with diplomacy is communication. How to present your communication. So if I have to analyze certain people who happen to create unnecessary chaos based on their public utterances, the title of diplomats by default will not be used on them. But does it mean that credit should not be given to people who make efforts of any kind, efforts that could help to push the struggle forward? I don't think so. But I'm also cautioning those who are taking initiatives. Do not allow your blessing become a curse because of ulterior motives. There are two things involved. It is either you have a vision or you are vicious. So what's the vision? The Bible says a nation without a vision, the people perish. If there is a vision that is anchored mostly by the government under the leadership of President Sako, you are at variance with a vision that has proven to be stable, to be consistent, to be reliable, then you are probably having another agenda. It begs the question, what are you fighting for? Are you fighting for you, or are you fighting for the people? Are you fighting for Ambazonia to be free, or are you fighting for an individual crown? You must define this so that it will help your individual strategy and our collective effort in our endeavor. We are at a time of our history where it entails or requires decency, responsibility, maturity for us to navigate ourselves. We've had those who have been given titles, who have occupied great responsibility within our struggle, express primitivity at very high levels, either with their utterances or behaviors or the way they conduct themselves in different places. Should Ambazonia be found in such chaos? These are some of the things we'll be talking about. A lot is happening on the ground. Students are constantly being victims of either crossfire between the Ambazonian State Army and the colonial forces. Normalcy is far-fetched. Men and women are being kidnapped by proxy fighters of President Biya or the ADF on a daily basis. So this evening is pregnant. We intend to give some form of a defense briefing, and that's why you saw Commander Elvis was supposed to be there, but he has been replaced by SOS Zama this evening. So that's going to be at the concluding stages of today's conversation. So much for us to talk about. Barrister Mbeseha is on a flight, but good enough for us, we have Barrister Fru John Nsoh, who has always been faithful to this weekend program that enables our people to be revived, be energized, and be educated. So I want to talk a little bit more before I bring in the panel discussion. I want to talk a little bit more on ABC Amba TV. It was brought to my attention because I have personally gotten myself out of some of those forums where you have primitive people, very primitive people, people who have left by some means Africa into the diaspora, but unfortunately for them, they were brought up with a high level of primitivity, saying a lot of foolish things. And ABC was on the spotlight. A certain individual who is at his old age is trying to get into the media with a radio or whatever. I don't know what he's doing, if it is activism or it is radio, whatever he's doing. I don't want to call his name because there's no need giving him any relevance. Was trying to misinform the people at the home front that ABC has been off air. Just to set the record straight, ABC for the past 3 into the 4th year right now has never, ever, for once, been cut off air by the satellite company provider or the satellite provider. Now in December, we had a few days, about a week, about 8 days or so, where we were kind of disconnected because, as you know, we're expanding. So there was a technical restructuring. So for the first time in the history of the Ambazonian liberation movement, you've had a television. We've had a couple of TVs. We've gone through different phases. And I'm the best person. This is not, I would say I can proudly tell you that I'm the best person to give to you the recent history or the history of television in the Ambazonian struggle right now. Not even Derek Yu, who was the first director of SCBC, or Chris Ano, or any other person can give you information about television in Ambazonia better than me. Because why do I pride myself as a better person to tell you anything about TV in Ambazonia? Because I was there from the first TV and I'm there now. And in all the different phases, I've played a very critical role in ensuring that Ambazonia is doing broadcasting. I did not begin television when the struggle started. A lot of people found themselves in TV as an opportunity that was given to them by the struggle. That's another categorical difference. And of all the different phases, this is the first time in the life of the Ambazonian government that they have been more relaxed than ever. This particular TV right now has the lowest budget, the highest output, and the best consistency. This crop it and send it to every other person you know. Let them debunk what Tarh Paddy King is saying. You remember when Chris Ano was there, from time to time he comes to cry when ABC is already off air. When satellites could not be paid and they were cut off air. It was not necessarily because of lack of money. One thing was lacking: the technical know-how on how to manage a broadcasting corporation. It was absent. And so we had a kind of La République du Cameroun system where people live and enam and have no idea in technology, but they are made directors on a particular thing on how to manage it. Since 2021, ABC Amba TV might have had some increments in the bills, but has never ever skipped a month. We have the receipts without paying satellite. And therefore, if you have a blackout, it's because of technical issues, not because ABC television is unable to go on air. So ignore throws, ignore primitive people. I call them primitive people. In fact, this same guy is a very primitive person. It's unfortunate that at one time I had to be with him on the same platform. So do not believe what you hear. We're going to have some people at the home front call later to prove. They're watching us right now at the home front. In December, when we're off air for about 8 days, because of the technical issues we're facing, trying to give new signals for people to connect, I could barely sleep. I didn't have Christmas because the entire Ambazonia was calling from Ngi. Villages that I have not communicated with anybody from those villages had to look for my number. You saw it in the platforms. So if ABC is off air, it is not an idiot in the UK that will tell you. Ambazonians will say it. Some of them are in the forums. So why are they attacking the TV is one of the concerns that we'll be talking about, and that's where I'm going to bring in Barrister Fru, who is already connected. I'm trying to still connect SOS Zama. Why is ABC television a target? Why is Cameroun strategically using idiots, primitive, highly uneducated people to try to sabotage ABC Amba TV? It's simple. It's because in the Cameroons today, crop this again. It is that there's something the Bible says. It says a prophet is never known in his home. Crop what I'm saying. Say that Tarh Paddy King is saying that. I'm not even comparing myself with every faction that calls themselves is it Choyaba TV or whatever. We're not comparing with that. In the Cameroons today, when it comes to production quality, ABC Amba TV has a standard that even CRTV on certain things doesn't have. I know what they do. I'm telling you out of experience. This is not trolling. And with very minimal resources. I'm telling you of people who have been on TV for like 2 decades, like STV, Equinox. Go and look at their quality of production, the style of production and everything. You have people with huge budgets like Canada and CRTV, and they are still not even performing on certain levels based on our wavelength. In fact, we do not even have up to 1/100 of CRTV's budget. The budget of CRTV newsroom for a month is way more than the budget of ABC Amba TV for an entire year. But we're doing quite well, and we're expanding. We'll be planting new studios. So don't bother. Cameroon is trying to weaken your effort because a lot of people are worried. I have an audio I'm going to be playing to you. We want daddy calling at the home front. You people have to react to this. Usually for a long time, if you notice, I don't get involved with this discussion. But I have to do it because we're just starting the year. The year is fresh. We cannot allow ourselves to be distracted with innuendos, conspiracy theories by wannabes. People who own no substance. They own no substance in their entire being. They cannot even spell their names correctly. It's a fact. So digitalization of multimedia has made it easier where you can use your phone and record something and then you turn around to tell us that you have a radio. I hear, I'm not aware, I hear that they have a radio and a television. Good. We're open to healthy conversation and healthy competition. If your television or radio or whatever you have is genuinely to fight for Ambazonia, and then focus. Fight Cameroun. Why are you getting distracted? Now, na head the talk say, na only tree where it get fruits, they get stones. So I understand. If you don't call the name of Tarh Paddy and ABC, there's nothing you can say. In fact, there is nothing important you can talk about. I know that. So we're going to start the conversation right after the break. Stay tuned. Barrister Fru.
Yes, Paddy. Let me reduce the volume of this TV.
What you doing?
Okay.
You're welcome, please.
Yes, Paddy.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for another weekend, another Saturday for us to talk to our people, to reason with our people, to educate our people on what are the goings and the comings of the revolution. Yeah. And the rest, anything that our people need to know, ABC Amba TV will tell them. Thank you very much for the invitation.
What is even very interesting is the fact that I just thought I should give this information public. I've already communicated that to the ABC.
Yes. Yes, I heard you.
There's an information I want to give you. You see, when people are doing things, I'm just telling you now, I am involved with every aspect of ABC right now. Every aspect. Critically involved. But there is nothing about ABC that has the name Tarh Paddy. Neither do I receive official mails using my email. But I just noticed, because we had a new contract with the satellite company in December, and I realized that they were telling me to talk to Chris Ano, that he should sign the contract. I'm like, why? So when they gave the contract and documents that were given, I realized in those documents that Chris Ano used his personal email. ABC had an email.
What?
But Mr. Ano used his personal email. That was the first thing I noticed. Number two, he used his personal number. He used his personal name. So the TV was owned by Ano. Even though at the time had a board. Yeah. I have the documents here. I have them here. I'm going to forward them to the office of the president. There's an emergency board meeting. I'm going to give it for them to see. So I had to work with Dr. Tata for those names to be changed and to have it. So these are some things when people are talking. I'm choosing to give this information publicly now, just to explain to people what we've gone through at different phases, the battles we've fought, and where we are today. We are in a much better place today than ever before. As far as ABC TV is concerned, we're in a much better place today than ever before in the history of this struggle. Barrister, please talk to us.
Yes, but when I read the program for today, I saw the contract for the satellite company cancelled. I said, how is that? Because I watch ABC every day of the week, at least. And then when I have the time, when I'm not.
And people at the home front call you. When there's no ABC, the first person to call me that they have called you from.
Yeah, when there is no ABC, I get a lot of calls from the home front. But I have not received one single call complaining that ABC is off the air.
Yeah.
I haven't. But when there is a technical problem and ABC is not coming up on time, I get a call.
Immediately. I don't even sleep. There are times,
but that is why I was taken aback when I read that. But eventually somebody is parading some rumor that ABC satellite contract has been cancelled. Who the hell is that?
Is a nincompoop. It's
I mean, it is just
the radio man.
Which radio man?
The old school radio guy.
Look, Chris Anus.
No, that's not Anus. It's Watcher. There's an audio he recorded about 19 minutes.
Oh, come on, man. Come on. Who is Watcher? A riffraff on the streets of London. I know everything about Watcher called Charcoal Radio. What is he talking about? People on the home front that we all make sure that they receive ABC are not complaining. Why is he talking about ABC off the air because of the contract for satellite has been cancelled? Is he the one who signed the contract? Does he know anything about ABC? A riffraff on the streets of London who, for some reason, I don't know how he goes. He puts audios on social media and calls it radio Charcoal Radio. Well, if he thinks that he has a radio station, let him prove it, because it's not easy for him. A guy who's living on social benefits from the government of the UK will tell us that he has a radio station. He has never broadcasted. All I hear is audios. So it's a non-event, Paddy. It's a non-event. Amba TV since 2021, after Chris Anu did what he did, Amba TV has been on consistently and will stay on forever. It is the mouthpiece of the Ambazonian revolution. And that's why La République du Cameroun is trying to set up people to destroy Amba TV, because this is a very, very, very powerful tool of the revolution. La République should be surprised how we send our information to our people directly on the ground and they know everything. The quality of this TV station is better than Equinox, where I started this fight. It's better than even Afrique Media, where I started this fight. And of course, STV, LTM, or whatever. Or Canada, which has a huge budget. We are doing fine, buddy. We are doing fine with the little resources we have. We are doing fine, and that is why La République du Cameroun is mounting rascals on the streets like Charcoal Radio to destroy ABC. It's a waste of time and waste of money from La République du Cameroun. It's a non-chatter. He cannot. I want to tell you, he has no radio station. Otherwise, why would he be putting audios and calling it Charcoal Radio? He should broadcast, let's hear. He should go on FM or AM and let's hear.
Now, it's important that you would have to make that comment about Cameroon's effort to use trolls. I call him a troll, trolls and a proxy of Cameroon to distract people because of the gains. You remember after the president's end of year speech and all the analysis that we did, the first thing that was done is they tried to block us on YouTube and on Facebook.
Oh yes. Yes, they block us on YouTube with some kind of conspiracy with YouTube. They blocked us, but they could not block us on Facebook. They couldn't.
And we had to contend that. And here we are. We're back.
Yes. But our focus is a satellite. Is a satellite, so that our people on the ground should get ABC Amba TV directly in their living rooms. You don't need you don't need YouTube. You don't need Facebook.
Yeah, and that's quite instrumental, because when you're looking at what the impact we're doing or the impact we are creating, you would understand exactly why Cameroon is frightened. The strategy they've used for like 60 years and over has been misinformation, disinformation, educating our people with falsehood. And then we come, after all is said and done, we all by the media and the media proxies. Even Mbeseha has also been contacted abroad. I was telling people before the time that Mbeseha is a proxy of La République du Cameroun. They didn't believe until she published a payment platform which shows that you can actually pay her money through Cameroun using Momo, MTN Momo. And I'm like, by Fru, you and myself, we cannot raise money. I
cannot use Momo.
There are people in the Cameroons that are willing to fund this platform, but we don't want to jeopardize their lives, so we cannot give them any method to receive money.
We cannot receive money through Momo. No way. No way.
So we are on this platform from the diaspora by a minimum of 100%. But Mbeseha and Hansen, they have bank accounts and Momo accounts in Cameroon. The only reason why Cameroon will permit that, it's important for us to get into this conversation. Why Cameroon will permit that is because Cameroon, under René Sadi, is strategically using them to paint a wrong image in the international community that there is press freedom in the Cameroons and everybody can say anything. So they stylishly, with a spine, act as though they want to criticize the government of Cameroon, but their focus is in sabotaging the Ambazonia movement. Maybe you want to talk on that.
Yes, Paddy. These people that you are talking about, for Hansen and Mbeseha, those are people I started with on Equinox. They all work for Equinox. They are bloggers. They are not, are they part of the media? Do they have any media connection? They only contribute, they only write on Facebook, write on, once in a while come on YouTube, if they can afford it. They are, look, Mbeseha is living in London in abject poverty. She doesn't run a media organ. If she had a media organ, she will be well. She will be doing well. For Hansen is in Switzerland. No, of course, Switzerland is a place where you cannot live until you have a certain amount of money. He's working. I found out that he's working and doing this on the side. He is a political refugee in Switzerland, but yet supports La République du Cameroun because he gets paid. Mbeseha is trying to get what she lives from the crumbs that she gets from La République du Cameroun. I'm sorry to say, she lives under a husband, and they are receiving social welfare in the UK. I can confirm that. Because when I tried to get to her as a former friend, I tried to get to her. She willfully did not want to talk to me. I'm saying it on the air. She can hear me. It is unfortunate. It's unfortunate because these are young people who were very, very, very. They were in the fight. Mbeseha was never in the fight. He was working for a television station, Equinox. So there was an editorial policy that she must respect. Same thing with Fru Hansen. When she was detained in Douala, we organized lawyers. In the background, we organized lawyers to get her out. And we put so much pressure, and this young lady was released. And then she left the country. She does not want to find out how was easy for her to leave the country. She didn't do anything to leave the country. People did it for her, and she left. I can excuse her because she's a citizen of La Republique. But Fru Hansen is from Donga Amantung. He's an Ambazonian. The change of tone shocks me. And to come back to your question, Paddy, La Republique of Cameroon has done everything to crumble the Ambazonian government. It has not worked. They want to crumble the powerful media, the Amba TV television. It's not working for them. So what else is left? To go and be paying scallywags like Charcoal Radio on the streets of London to claim that our satellite contract has been cancelled? By what means? How do you cancel a contract that is active and is being paid for? I mean, when I read that, I was taken aback because I watch ABC Amba TV every day that I have time.
I remember during Christmas, you called me like 4 times, and I kept on saying you were working. We were not owing no.
That is because I was not getting Amba TV.
Yes, and because people were calling you from the home.
From the home front, I had several calls from the home front, particularly in Bamenda. People were calling on an hourly basis. I was tempted to put off my phone because it was something else. And how they got my number, I wouldn't know.
The truth is, when we don't have satellite, sometimes when they can't reach me, they go and start writing my Facebook and writing to my wife. Like, it was because I'm trying to find out. Yeah, I'm trying to find out. That means, and I cannot blame the people that call you at 3 a.m. in the night because our people are at work. Sometimes I am trying to have a very brief sleep, and there is a phone, and I cannot switch it off because sometimes when you do that, they start feeling bad. They start thinking. There are people when
you cannot switch your phone. You cannot switch your phone.
When they receive this disinformation, they feel like it's all ending. There is one pa who wrote something to me. I'm going to play. He told me I'm not watching TV again. Not on air. That was in the week in December. We were doing the restructuring and some stuff.
When the change was going on and there were technical issues.
Yeah. People come from Yaoundé. Statistics has it that we have our largest views from Yaoundé and Douala.
You know why? Let me tell you. La Republique de Cameroon officials, they want to know what is going on. They watch ABC Amba TV, especially this program. They watch it every Saturday. In the presidency, in the prime ministry, and everywhere. They are watching it. But they are watching the truth. Not the lies and the innuendos being paraded by those networks in Cameroon. I'm afraid to say there's no credible network that I know.
Looking on the social media now for all those who call themselves TV for Ambazonia, I call ABS, ACN, call it whatever. bloggers or whatever, even SCBC, even on social media, we have the highest views currently. But let's keep that aside. Let's go on the satellite. If anybody wants to doubt this, I'll give to you probably the satellite company. Write to them, because the satellite company knows, like on Netflix, the channel that is most watched or the film that is most watched, Netflix knows. Their system can tell them. ABC Amba Television is the most. They told us this in November. We're trying to cancel. We were the ones proposing to cancel our options to go to a better option. And the guys told us it's not just about the money. They actually pleaded with us. I spoke with all their agents. They have an agent in the Philippines and in London. And they told us that we are the most watched Amba TV that they have in sub-Saharan Africa. They know of every other channel. Most of the people are surely going through them. So this is, they are the ones streaming me right now. So what I'm telling you is not propaganda. I'm giving you.
It cannot be.
If this government is the one that the Ambazonians are still committed to a true freedom of Ambazonia are loyal to, this government has the ability to raise money when they want to. Chris Ano and the others raise money. It simply tells you, it should advise you that you have got to not believe any kind of side talk. Mr. Fru, please.
Yes, I want to say this, and I want to say that they can do whatever they want to do. This television station will be the last tool to die after all of us must have died. We will do everything to keep our TV moving. Unless all of us die, like we always say, until the last man standing. This TV will live after us, after we have all died. If La Republic is minded to eliminate all English-speaking Cameroonians in Ambazonia, well, all Ambazonians, then that's when this TV can go off the air. For now, we will ensure that it stays on. Our people are very resilient in the diaspora. They are contributing and making sure that Amba TV, ABC Amba TV stays on. And it's a tool, a very powerful tool. That is why La Republic is looking for every means to destroy it. How come they were able to stop us on YouTube, but they could not stop us on Facebook? They could not stop us from the satellite beaming that we do on the home front. They can't. We are very powerful. We are competing with powerful networks, not the type of thing that you have in Cameroon. I understand one thing. One of the most important television stations that I dealt with was Equinox. They are very strong. But I don't know, as a non-technician, I cannot tell you how technically they are strong. But they have quality journalists. They have people who manage that network have some level of quality. More than CRTV and more than a Canada. Those are the big budget companies. But Equinox is up to the task. Equinox is doing well. But it cannot compare itself to ABC Amba TV.
Period. Now, just to put the nail on this subject so we can move on and have a better discussion or other part of our discussion this evening. There is a rumor. I don't know if it is true, because I have so much to do. I don't just go around social media looking at foolishness. So lots of persons have brought to my attention that some certain individuals, I hear mostly, I get it probably Chaco Radio and Amos, and there are rumors that there are certain members of government involved. They have started a radio television, something of that sort.
Where is that?
Well, let me just say this, Barrister Fru. I particularly, I don't know if anyone in the government is moved by it. I'm not triggered by it because there is enough room in the sky for everybody. If you think that the best way for you to move forward with the struggle is to start a television, then so be it. But this tells us the primitivity I say all the time. I have what it takes to start and do a television that is going to be better than all that those their TVs from when I was in Yaoundé. And I want to say this story, Barrister Fru. I've said it a couple of times just in the background. Maybe I should say it publicly for the first time. I came into the communications department, was appointed by the then Dr. Luis into SCBC as the media director. I was in Yaoundé. It was because one person that was working in the government at the time from governing council knew me and knew what I was doing. And then kept on recommending and insisting that I should come. And this person is Lady Casey. Now, when I got there, Lady Casey is Lady Casey who brought me here.
Our State House press secretary.
So me and Lady Casey have been friends for more than 15 years. So a lot of people might not know that she's one of those I don't know in the struggle. So that is how I got in. Because from time to time I was looking at the background and I kept on recommending to them, who is the one doing this when they started what they started in South Africa. I was in South Africa in 2017 April and communicated with JC and the others there, and I was not interested to work with them until Lady Casey insisted that they needed me. At the time I came was at the verge of a split, destruction. For the 4 months, there was a serious fight to where we are at this moment. I had a project to have started a podcast that would have probably been one of the biggest podcasts in the Cameroon. I had funders already. Members of government in Cameroon were willing to fund that podcast. But I abandoned. Those were one of the projects that were abandoned because I thought that I had to focus. The only reason I left the Cameroons at the time, I had no project of leaving Cameroon anytime soon, was because of my involvement in the struggle. You know how I used to come and take pictures of you people at the court there and send to SCBC to broadcast. When you were coming to the court for Sisiko's case, the person that was coming to film and give images, most of the graphic design, if not minimum 50% graphic design done from 2017 into 2018 was done by this person, Tarh Paddy, that was hiding somewhere in Yaoundé. That is the level of this. I contacted my younger cousin Eric Tato to join SCBC at the time, so we can build it together. All of them rejected and wanted their platform. He had the national, what he called the Telegram, National Telegram.
National Telegram.
I contacted Mark Barata, and I'm like, guys, stop doing all of these things. Everybody can have their own platforms. They're all younger ones to me. They're young. I was about leaving the university when they were coming into the university, including Tapang Ivor. And I told them, listen, guys, let us come together to do something. Forget creating your own platform here. It's a distraction. But you see the ego of every Ambazonian. Everybody wants to have something that's their name. Until Chris Anutu thought that he was going to build for himself a platform and then have his own TV. So this is where we are today. If you want to start your TV, is good. But get for yourself content. If you think that calling the name Tarh Paddy is going to give you content, please go ahead. If you think that calling...
Paddy, you said something about Chris. You said something on the air that Chris Anu registered ABC in his name. The email was his. It's private. The telephone number of the call, it was his. Everything was his.
I have the email. This is it. I have it.
Like God will have it. Like God will have it. He did not succeed in taking away ABC. He could have. Like we always say, this revolution is God ordained. If a man had all that in his name and he left without it,
There was an app Chris Arno belt that carried his name. I went to that app at the time. Lady Casey was director of ABC. It was around 2020. And I'm like, Lady Casey, what is this? Lady Casey told me, Paddy, Chris Arno doesn't even want me to function. And that is how Chris Arno manipulated the situation and forced Lady Casey out of ABC.
Correct.
So I'm rehashing all of this so that Ambazonians can understand what we have been through and where we are today. Barrister Fru, I think we need to move on. I would like to bring I would like us to bring there is a report on the ground on the victims that are happening to what is happening to our people right now. So I want to bring that up right after this this break. We're having a break right now. After that, we're going to have a report and then we'll move on from there. Stay tuned.
Moving in our midst, I worship you. I worship you.
Hello Houston, Texas, this is Sinach and I am excited that I have been invited to minister at the Shout It Abroad music concert taking place in Houston, Texas on the 7th of February 2025. It is going to be a time of worship, a time of praise, and I am looking forward to sharing my new music with you.
Everybody now, let's go.
The venue is at the Smart Financial Center, Sugarland, Texas. Make sure you pick up a ticket and bring your friends and your loved ones. It promises to be an amazing time in the presence of the Lord. I look forward to seeing you. God bless.
Victory is my name. My praise is strong. Joy overflowing. More than a song. I'm celebrating in the midst of my enemies. I praise. You are here, moving in our midst. Okay, welcome back. Good evening, Onye. Good evening, Barrister Fru. Onye, can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Tarh, I can hear you.
That's amazing. I want us to, I understand that you have been processing. There's a particular report you indicated interest for us to talk about this evening. You know, Cameroon continues to tell the world that there is some form of normalcy returning. Let's see that from Onye's vantage point. Talk to us about the situation happening in GTHS Bamenda where there was a crossfire so that we can move on from there, please.
All right, good evening, Barrister Fru. We got this report that says there's a fire exchange between Ambazonian State Army and the Colonial Army disrupting classes at the GTHS in Nkwem. Well, classes at the Government Technical High School Nkwem as a result of deafening gunshots. The gunshots were emanating from an armed exchange between the Ambazonian State Army and La Republic du Cameroun Colonial Army. The incident happened on Thursday, January 23rd, 2024, when students were fully engaged with schooling. The atmosphere as a result of the gunshot was such that students, even with the class words protecting them, still had to lay flat on the floor, not to be the endpoint of stray bullets. Any attempt to get to know what exactly provoked the exchange between the Ambazonian State Army and the Colonial Army never yielded any result. But the fact is that the Colonial Army has taken part of the GTS Nkwem as their hideouts. And of course, you know, when this information gets to the Ambazonian State Army, they are never ever satisfied knowing that Bamenda and its environs are off limit for the colonial army. So a faction of the colonial army are causing havoc in Bamenda and has that place, that's the GTH, as a hideout place. Now, these men are using students as shield from their atrocities. And over time here on Undaunted, we've explained that using humans as shield during wartime is a criminal offense. How can the colonial army infiltrate students using part of a school as their camp? And you expect the Ambazonian State Army to be silent on this when they are supposed to be protecting the people? Now, head such institutions, and they are not just camping there, they are heading such institutions, accommodating more people, more colonial army. And of course, you know that their response team by the ASS had to come impromptu. All areas in Ambazonia has been targeted to be off limit for colonial army. And so now we can understand briefly why we had that gun shootout there. That's not all. Still about students in Ambazonia. Talked about guns. Students being whisked away from school. Very sad. Students of the University of Bamenda in Bambili are traumatized by the upsurge of kidnappings for ransom, with students as their principal targets. Not just using the school as a hideout. That's no longer enough. They now go as far as kidnapping students. This has been the order of the day. If you followed Undaunted News previously from last week, you will know that this has been the order of the day. But this particular incident happened on Thursday, January 23rd as well, where 4 students were kidnapped together with a shop owner whose shop is right in front of the students' hostel. The kidnappers whisked their victims to an unknown destination. In an amateur video filmed by a student through the window, the kidnappers with AK-47 rifles are seen rounding up their targets and compelling them with gunshots to mount their bikes. Before taking off, the kidnappers cleared the air with gunshots. Students are seemingly a better target for kidnappers so far because, these kidnappers make fast cash. It appears parents are quick to comply with the financial demands of these kidnappers. With the growing insecurity in Bamenda as a result of the war that has been ravaging Ambazonia for the past 8 years and counting, many people are fast making gains with the situation. Very sad, you would agree with me. Guns are fast getting into the wrong hands with the sole objective of making money. So, while the colonial army with guns is extorting from Ambazonia at any given opportunity, other armed gangs have surfaced to increase the sufferings of the people of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia with kidnappings. These armed groups, with their increasing quest to make more money, are being hired to settle scores. The reason for the growing number of target killings in Ambazonia, by the way. As I pressed down while working on this report, the kidnapped students have not yet regained their freedom and their whereabouts are still unknown, but trust Undaunted to get to the full detail of all of these stories that are coming up. Mr. Tarh, there is actually one more report, but I would want you to say a thing or two about this kidnapping, insecurity, and armed exchange happening in Bamenda.
Thank you very much, Ode, for that. Fru, well, I know you have a lot to say, but this is what I prefer, and this is where I would like you to begin. This is the same Ambazonia that normalcy is returning. Maybe you want to comment on that.
Normalcy is not returning to Ambazonia because Ambazonia and La Republic of Cameroun are at war in the country of Ambazonia. And I want to state here the report given by Undaunted now is very strategic because it is not the first time that these colonial forces have taken part of a school as their hideout, as their camp. They did it in Naziri, and the only reason why the ASA did not confront them was because of the agglomeration of the population around Naziri and the children. And before the planning was done to see how they can intervene, La Republic took out its forces from Aziri. Now they are settled in GTHS Bamenda in Kwen. And they did not expect that the ASA will allow them to disturb our children's education. La Republic of Cameroon is doing it purposely so that our children should not study in peace. And so the ASA was forced to confront them on that spot. And of course, the children were at risk when this fighting was going on. Fortunately, I have not heard any death from the children, from any of the students, but it is unheard of that the army would go, the army fighting a war will go will go into a school and take up residence in some of the classes and make it their camp to be able to fight the Ambazonian State Army. We will not tolerate that on our territory. And let Mr. Bia tell that to the dogs. The international community knows that we are at war and the war is active. It's going on. He cannot be talking about normalcy. What kind of normalcy when our children are in the crossfire? What kind of normalcy when you send your troops to go and take over, to go and be living in a school environment, putting the children at risk? And of course, our forces will not allow that, because we have a duty to make sure that these children study without study in peace, without any fear. Right now, I am not sure these students will sit in their classes in peace after this crossfire. And this has been caused by La Republic of Cameroon, and they are the first to talk about normalcy. If you can go to school in a school and do what they look at that's a Republic soldier fighting who in that school? How did you get there in that school? It is a war crime against La Republic of Cameroon to enter a school environment and open fire on anything anyhow and in uniform during a wartime. Schools are off limit, churches are off limit, hospitals are off limit. Hey, but La Republic does not know that.
But it's very instrumental. As you see, that's a teacher that was out of campus. The lady you're seeing there with a red dress. I think I'm just going to play so that I'm just going to play this and then give it some. Can actually see.
Jesus. Guns. See the host, put it down. Jesus. See that. Hey, Jesus. See madam for middle school. See madam sleep now down. See madam. Jesus. Why the block?
The long and short of it all is that Ambazonia is at war.
That's it.
Ambazonia.
And it's at war against La Republic of Cameroon. La Republic of Cameroon is attacking us and we're defending.
And this is what is happening, Barrister Fru. The point is, CRTV will not say this. Canada will not say this. Any Equinox will not say this. Any channel that dares to say anything of this sort,
it will be banned.
As we speak now, will be banned. Or they are going to face serious problems. The post that is reporting about us, they have closed them a couple of times, threatening them. I talked to a couple of journalists at home. Most of the journalists in all the networks in Cameroon are my friends, most of them. So we have conversation. The guys are not free. The editors-in-chief scrutinize. You are signing a document that if you go off script by 1 minute and say anything that has not been properly scripted, you will not only be fired, you'll be jailed.
Not only that,
Yeah.
And not only that, your file will go to Joe Chubunke. Joe Chubunke is an Ambazonian whom Bia has placed at the head of the commission, the commission that controls journalists and media houses in Cameroon. And he is a horrible enabler. And he will ban anybody anytime, including Equinox. You know, Equinox just came out of a ban.
Of a suspension, yeah.
Yeah, suspension. And that is a network that is most watched in all of La Republic of Cameroon networks, including CRTV.
Yeah. So you see, Ambazonians, there's need for you to protect this platform. You know, it's
and to crown it all, Paddy, let me finish. And to crown it all, I used to respect one journalist from the Post, Charlene Diche. Since Charlene Diche became a very important member of that commission, he has gone dead. He has gone, he does what the regime wants him to do so that he can make his money. That is not what journalism is all about. Charlene Diche is one of those who has disappointed me a lot, because I was expecting him, if they don't want him to practice journalism, he should get out of that commission and go back and be more active on Cameroon Post. But Charlene Diche is a very important member of that commission, and he works hands in glove with J. Chubunke. I would argue that both of them are enablers to this revolution. Because you bring anything Ambazonia, mention anything Ambazonia, they will ban you.
Now, Barrister Fru, this image that Onye was reporting about that has to do with the kidnapping in somewhere in, I think, in the Bamenda University. I would like us to actually watch this image and see what happens by Cameroon. Guys, watch.
Don't carry that boy in the car. That boy is being said motor. And I've seen that her bike, that a lady's bike. Where? And I get that. I thought I'm not in that get store. No, take that get all her money this afternoon. All like that. All. Where? And I've carried them. Where? My sister, where? Ay, Jesus. This boys are wicked. These boys are wicked.
So this actually a situation is a well calculated situation with, you know, like we were talking the other day, Barrister. Okay, so they're not firing guns. We're talking the other day of a situation whereby a Tanganji has given guns to a lot of people. You have civilian
to a group of bandits. To a group of bandits.
Because this is definitely the works of the Ambazonia State Army. And then now, this is what these guys are actually doing.
There are three sets of people. There are three sets of people who could do kidnapping in the city of Bamenda. You have the Atangaji boys, you have ADF, and then you have the Cameroon army in civilian dresses and on motorbikes, because it has become a farm for them to make money. ADF is a proxy force instituted by La Republic of Cameroon using Ayabacho, who is in jail.
There's evidence to that.
Yes. Paul Atangaji gave guns to a group of bandits, and they were calling them Atangaji boys in Bamenda, especially in Bamenda. Secondly, the Cameroon army are now going to the field. They are going to a war without allowances, without anything. and they have created another group of bandits that go around terrorizing our people to get money in order to eat. And they go to the extent of stealing food from our people.
They're stealing
Those are the
people's cows, dogs, and pigs. They're stealing everything.
Yes. And cutting plantains in people's farms. And these are the three groups that are terrorizing Bamenda. It would take squads of ASA to clean up Bamenda. And if our brother Zama was here, he would tell us exactly what they plan to do, because Bamenda needs to be cleaned up from these bandits, from these ADF, Aitanganji boys, and the Cameroun army. That is a very, very difficult situation for us in Bamenda. I don't know how the population is living in Bamenda with these threats, daily threats, and every school campus, including University of Bamenda, is off zone for any gun-toting individuals. It's off zone for the army. It's off zone for everybody who carries a gun. Why would they go and take students? Why would they go and disturb students? Why would they go into their residential areas and collect students in the name of ransom? Cameroon is unable to give 1,000 francs a day to a soldier to eat. Not unable to give even 1,000 francs for a soldier to be able to eat. He has to go banditry in order to feed himself. And he's fighting a war. And Cameroon is talking about no mercy. Man, they think they can deceive the world, eh? They really believe that they can deceive the world. Paddy, we will have to clean up Bamenda. We will have to the squads of the ASA will have to come all over to clean up Bamenda, because these idiots are moving around with guns and they are unidentifiable, and they carry they climb on motorcycles, come and collect our people to go and keep them so that they can come and pay to pay the money to them. Even in a funeral, you cannot bury your person in peace in Bamenda because of these idiots.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate situation is that we don't have a standing force inside Bamenda. So we have to move forces, we have to move squads to come and clean up Bamenda.
I wanted to bring Commander Elvis, and the Department of Defense actually delegated Zama, but for the past 1 hour. That's why we even started this program a little late. I'm calling all those who are watching us on social media to share, because he has promised to join me on phone. He's going to tell us what is happening in Bamenda and how they're neutralizing it. The good news that's happening is that there is an active clean up Bamenda, the Midland zone in its entirety, and all the urban zones of Ambazonia right now from different sides. We have fighters that are being dispatched to do, and they are doing tremendous. We have some intelligence. Zama will definitely be talking on most of those things with us. So if you look at it very keenly, Barrister Fru, there's a strategy here, like you said. It's all about civilian outfits now. Yes. They know that if we do that, we're going to turn the people against the genuine Ambazonian fighters. So we are educating you at the home front to know that the genuine Ambazonian fighters, they come into town not to kidnap you or not to do anything against you. They're coming to create some sanity. So Cameroon wants to turn you against them. Because if you look at the young girl that was doing the commentary at the back, she really didn't even know who was behind those weapons.
Yes, yes. And you cannot blame her. You cannot blame her. You cannot blame her because they are carrying guns and they are unidentifiable. They are not organized. They don't come like they have come with a chain of command like the Ambazonia State Army. They go, when they go on operation, they go with their commanders. and they give them instructions. But these guys just roam around town with guns and terrorize our people, to go and take students, to go and keep them so that the parents can come and give them money. What a life. We have to do everything to clean up Bamenda. I'm glad to hear that the ASA is actively involved in the cleanup in Bamenda, because Cameroon soldiers who are hungry are part of the problem. You cannot have a healthy bunch of plantain behind your house. By the time you get up in the morning, they have cut it and taken away, because they need to eat. They go into piggery, go into fences and take pigs, they take goat, because they are not being fed. And of course, the ADF is the kingpin, they are the ones parading and giving and letting La Republic know that they are doing a job on their behalf. And La Republic will turn around and say, those are the Ambazonia State Army people. The ADF people, the remnants of ADF are still roaming around in Bamenda, causing havoc, because they are all bandits. They were recruited from banditry. Atanganji recruited his own from banditry. And that's where we are. Our ASA will have to clean the city of Bamenda up and all the other urban areas in Ambazonia, because they are operating in other places as bandits, with guns given by Atanganji and guns given by Colonel Mbangui to ADF.
Yeah, by Fru, in fact, there's a lot, and I'm going to be bringing Onye again. Onye, can you hear me, please? Onye, can you? I'd like the technicians to give a feedback sound. Onye, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I cannot get your sound. Okay, that's good. I think I can get your sound now. That's quite amazing. So there's a lot, Barrister Fru, like I mentioned. So much is happening in Bamenda. And our objective, one of our objectives, is to prove to the world that whatever Cameroon is claiming about normalcy is a far-fetched story. One of the quarters in Bamenda where there was a crossover, a kind of crossover of crossfire between the ASA and the colonial forces. We have a victim that is lying dead and has not been identified. Onye, I understand that you also have that report. Please talk to us.
Okay, so I mean, we can tag this particular report as another civilian killed in what we can call another in the latest Ambazonian violence attack, because there are attacks going on a regular basis, and we can only report the ones we can account for, or the ones that has been brought to the fore. So imagine the countless numbers of people unaccounted for. Well, that's an imagination you have to do later, but here's the report. So people in the Boom Quarter heard gunshots, the Boom Quarter near Jibibun, on Thursday evening around 7:30 p.m., leaving a trail of death and destruction in their wake. The sound of gunfire is all too familiar in Warrington, Ambazonia, where civilians are often caught in the crossfire between maybe the Ambazonian Self-Defense Forces and even the colonial forces of occupation. In this latest incident, one person was killed and the corpse has been left lying on the ground for over a day. And when you look at this critically, you will see that this is a grim of brutality and chaos that has become a hallmark of life in Ambazonia. That's not all. The people of Ambazonia are no strangers to violence. But the question is that supposed to be? Of course, the answer is no. Having suffered at the hands of La Republic to Cameroon colonial military for years, random and targeted killings, extortions, intimidations are just a few of the tactics used by the military to maintain control over Ambazonia. But the painful part of this, Mr. Tarh, is that the world has been slow, very slow if you ask me, to respond to this crisis, to the cries, and to all of these violent attacks. This has left the people of Ambazonia to fend for themselves in the face of all of these overwhelming violence. But then, as the situation continues to deteriorate, it is becoming increasingly clear that the people of Ambazonia are right now in desperate need of protection, support, and succor, because that is a brother to someone. That might even be a father to someone. That is someone's child. That is someone's help. But here he is lying lifeless. The victim of the latest shooting is yet to be identified. And so his people at this point would think he is missing. But then the cold hands of the senseless war has taken off his breath. But his death is a deep reminder of the human cost of this senseless war. The audio recording of this incident is a haunting testament to the fear and uncertainty that grieves the people of Ambazonia, as gunfire and screams fills the air on a regular basis. Children, students are not left out. Let's get that audio first of all.
Evening around 7:30, we hear gunshot. After the school my 6 Quen towards Mbung Quarter. So we hear gunshot, at least gunshot. Then breaking Friday morning, we see the cops sleep for corner water towards roadway that side for Jimmy Mbung. Na 2 quarter there that side Mbung after. So they corner water. Then at day 2, the cops still sleep for them. I beg me as the send the picture whether if they fit some their loved one if you don't lost.
Wow, that's
Oh
amazing.
well, at this point, I may just conclude by saying that the ongoing war, because I mean, that audio is highly sad. And so the ongoing war in Ambazonia is very complex and, is also a tiring issue with deep-rooted historical and political tensions. However, one thing is clear, very clear. Just like Barrister Fru will always say, the people of Ambazonia deserve peace, justice, protection from this violence, and they are not backing anytime soon. So it's time for the whole world, to take note and take actions to support the people of Ambazonia in this time of need. Or are they waiting for everyone in Ambazonia to lose their life before they can consider this as an international need? Oh well, Mr. Tarh, I wouldn't know if you want to start by answering that question, but then this has been a terrible weekend with
right
all
person
of
to answer the question is
very sad reports that
thank
we've
you.
had this weekend.
Yeah, the right person to answer the question is here. It's very important. What is the war waiting for, Barrister Fru? You've seen the images yourself.
Well, well, for 8 years that we have been fighting to defend ourselves from the Republic of Cameroun and the French, the world, through the complicity of the French and the powers that be, have not even mentioned that there's a war in Central Africa, in Cameroon, and in Ambazonia, which was part of Cameroon until 2017. That war is being fought, and our people are dying. The La République de Cameroon forces do not, when they are fighting, their soft targets is the population, civilians. Look at that man lying there. He's a civilian with slippers. He was unprepared for any fight. I don't know where he was coming from, but he was caught in the crossfire. La République might have shot him down because it's a soft target. The Republic does not respect the Geneva Convention. Let's not kid ourselves. Otherwise, if you look at Ambazonia genocideLibrary.com, most of the civilian deaths, almost all of the civilian deaths have been caused by La Republic of Cameroon. Are they there to fight civilians, or they are there to fight the Ambazonian State Army? They cannot even stand the Ambazonian State Army. That's why the civilians are a soft target for them. You have a criminal complaint at the ICC against them, and yet they are going around still doing this. And in war in other countries, including Israel and Gaza, before the civilians are touched, it is because of the fighting between Hamas and the Israeli troops, and civilians are being killed in the course of the fight. But if you look at one civilian lying down, and you say there was a fight, if there was a fight, why is that civilian dead? He's the only civilian dead. Why? Because he was a soft target. They found him as a soft target, and they brought him down. La Republique has made it a policy, a scorched earth policy, to kill all males they find on the Bamenda Street or anywhere else in Ambazonia, to reduce the male population from fighting. But I have bad news for them. It's not only the male population that is fighting, the female population is also fighting. They are our children, all of them. They are there to defend this homeland. They are there to defend the population. And unfortunately, La Republique, when they have an opportunity to get a soft target, they just kill civilians. The good news, as I just heard from Mr. King, Paddy King, is that the Ambazonian State Army is going to get involved in not only in Bamenda, but in major cities around Ambazonia, to clean up all these bandits and all these La Republique forces and everybody involved in fighting and killing populations inside cities. Because I cannot understand. Look at them. The picture you just showed. Look at Cameroon soldiers in a pickup truck inside town. What are they doing other than killing civilians? Have you heard that they have killed one single Ambazonian State Army? They cannot. Let them go and do this in Builesi or even Gokutinja or Manu. They are all cowards. Paddy, are you still there? Or something is happening?
Now, talking about their cowardice, I think is eminent. It is not clear to us that Cameroon and their proxies have the civilians as their shield. Onye started it, set the tone for that. We have seen it. We have not only seen it today, we have been seeing it every day. But it's a sad report to compile. Sometimes I get really emotional compiling these reports. But we just have to tell the world. Because if we don't tell the world and tell the world our own story, our own way, the truth is nobody tells it better than the way we tell it. They are not even interested in telling the truth. You know, the most fraudulent sector is the media in the Cameroons. The fraud is beyond measure. Is unthinkable, Barrister Fru. It's just unthinkable. So one other thing Cameroon does, and does perfectly well, is to recruit these guys, either from the ADF, from the Tangangis, from the CBDM loyalists, and then incite mayhem amongst them. We've had a report, which I wouldn't bother Onye to do that. I'll just bring in the video of a scenario that happened in Momo, And it's there's one black leg that used to call himself General Savior that was already also working like the Namberes were working with the colonial administration.
Yes.
And
in DDR.
now, yes, and right now as we speak, he has been a victim. So we receive images of him that have been neutralized by his own friends.
Oh, la la.
Him after they caught him. So that's him. That has been he was attacked. He's a black leg. Was attacked by his own people and neutralized in Momo. So these are some of the horrifying images that we receive. And what is the lesson of this, Barrister Fru? The lesson is for you to be careful, because what the enemy has one strategy: to invade you, to kill and to destroy you. Now, when they would have exhaustively used you and you are useless to them, they will use only one of you to kill you. It's either the bee will kill you or another proxy fighter will kill you, will neutralize you.
Okay.
And when you take sides with the colonial administration, you automatically become a target, because the ASA will also not spare you. This is where we are right now, Barrister Fru.
Yes, my advice to the forces on the ground, the legitimate forces on the ground, is to avoid DDR, because you will not come out alive. That is Savior who went and gave a lot of information to DDR. That is him. He has paid with his life. If he stayed fighting for the Ambazonian State Army, it's part of his shortcomings. He will not have been a corpse today. The point I'm making is that no country, no war in the world sets up rehabilitation centers during the war. La Republic said that thing, they call DDR, to lure the fighters that are vulnerable and bring them in there and use them and slaughter them. You remember, Paddy, the first 105 were slaughtered. The first 105 that were found in DDR, in Bamenda and in Boya were slaughtered. But before they were slaughtered, they had gone around showing the hideouts of the Ambazonia State Army, the fighters on the ground. And of course, strategically, the Ambazonia State Army is so well trained that by the time you are coming to show the camp, they have relocated. That's Savior the traitor, the black leg. He has been brought down. Look, when once a black leg goes and is in a DDR and is being used from DDR to attack our people, he becomes a legitimate target. He is involved in the war. He is he's a soldier in the camp of the enemy, and is a target for us. I don't regret his death.
And you know the sad thing, Barrister Fru, is the fact that these guys are not aware that when it comes to military, you don't join the camp of the person you had your gun with, because that is surrender. No. You are.
And not only that, I'm not cutting you short. Not only that, you have taken part in killing them, so they cannot forgive you. You can go up, come down, they will never forgive you.
I don't understand, Barrister Fru, how these guys are thinking that after they would have turned a gun. Cameroon has a very huge ego. First of all, they call us dogs, frogs, 2 cubes of sugar. Cameroon never ever believed for 1 minute that for any reason we could ever confront them. I remember one time I was in an office in Yaoundé, and I was eloquently expressing myself, because as a promoter culturel, I had a contract with the Ministry of Culture So my license as Promotec Culture had expired. I had to go to one of the offices around Ministry of Finance where they pay us for contracts that we've done. So I went into an office, and this man there, I can speak French and understand it well. I just on that particular day did not want to speak French. I was just not happy. That's about sometime around 2015. I just didn't want to speak French. This man, because I spoke in English, would not attend to me. I was well dressed. He cannot understand why a young man like me is coming to claim that kind of money. So he was speaking. One thing I realized in that very situation, Barrister Fru, was the fact that was the condescending attitude of administrators, the Bulus. They just cannot take it that an Anglophone, what they call Anglophone, would have to stand to confront them at any time. They cannot take it. Another scenario was in Front Street in Bamenda. You know, the bees, Bia was sending them in Bamenda. I was driving from Small Manco Primary School. That means from the Small Manco into Front Street. And you know, there are a lot of garages there, and that road is kind of tight.
It's kind of tight.
I side the right lane, and this guy was coming because of a tight. His car was on my lane. So for some reason, you have to push again close, and he pushes it on his side so we can go through. And I sat there, and I indicated to him that go a little bit like this. Let me go like this so that the both of us can come. That guy started insulting me and was speaking French, calling me Biafra. Not to him, I had to reverse that car because he is a B. He had to go through. Leading to him at Front Street. So when he was trying to do the intimidation, the mechanics in the garage there, all of them came out. So he got scared. And yes, he got scared when he started. Why am I telling these stories? When you see us making a decision that any relationship, whatever, come we stay, Njumba, fiancé, what they're claiming was a marriage, whatever relationship we had with these people is over in our spirit. And we cannot live together.
It's over.
They did not consider us like humans.
We're their slaves.
Yes.
We're slaves to them.
You have the audacity to pick gun and fight against them, and then you go to work for them. How do you even think that you can survive? I'm talking to those who are listening.
I don't know what kind of mentality that kind of fighter has. You think that you after having fought and killed them, you will go into their camp, they will take you in and feed you and let you free in the name of rehabilitation.
This guy started
rehabilitation. Listen, Paddy. Rehabilitation centers are run by international organizations. They are not run by any of the parties in the conflict.
Not the government.
They are not run by any of the parties in the conflict. You cannot go and set up centers, you call them DDR, that they are rehabilitation centers during the war, and take in your enemies, your enemy forces. What are you doing? You are taking them to slaughter them and reduce the strength of their forces. That's what is happening. And these fighters who are not well informed, who don't even know their left from right, he gets tired. Instead of you just resigning and going back to your house and staying with your family, you go to DDR, thinking that they will take you in and forget that you had killed them and forget that you were fighting against them. All of them will be slaughtered. That is the message you have. If you are in a DDR and you know that you are going to die, just get away from there and run away as fast as you can. Because Nambere was one of the smart ones who survived it. He left. And today he's in London. I don't know what he's doing, but I hear that he has been sent there and financed by La République of Cameroun. But let's wait and see. But at least he survived DDR because he ran away. and found himself in Yaoundé, and they cannot kill him in broad daylight inside Yaoundé. They were forced to deal with him.
This
if
guy
you
was
are in DDR, just know that your name is die. You are going to die. Savior, if he lived, he would have told you the story. Look at him there. That's an Ambazonian general who escaped and went to DDR. Look at his end. It's pathetic.
Come to think of it, Barrister Fru, I want everybody looking at us today. Can Cameroun look at the DDR? Biya, during his end of year speech, was threatening our fighters that if they don't drop their gun, he's going to be aggressive. That was empty. He was just
empty noise. That's the empty noise. Blah blah blah. Empty noise.
His army doesn't have the strength. But I just want the civilians and the proxies that are encouraging some fighters like Condat Titus, who is one of the recruits. I have an audio of him. I might play it if we have the time. To join this DDR. Talk to me. Can you recollect how many recruits of the DDR are having either a good economic life today? How many are alive? And how many even have a future?
I don't know any. No, I don't know any. Even Kawai Yannick, if he did not escape from there and found himself in Douala, is a Bambe boy in the port in Douala. That's the only one I can see that he escaped, because he escaped. He did not stay there to live and see what happened. He escaped.
So he's not in Bambi.
Those of them who are still in DDR.
Cameroun made promises. Cameroun has not given any promises. Has not fulfilled any. They were supposed to give them good life, and that's why Nambere could not take it.
No. Yes, those that are in DDR, then they are all going to be slaughtered, because those are the enemies. You cannot run. You cannot go and surrender to the enemy and expect a soft bed. It's impossible. It's impossible. La République du Cameroun deceived the world, took money from the world and opened rehabilitation centers when they were still fighting the Ambazonian State Army. And unfortunately, some of our soldiers, our forces fell prey and went to DDR, and they have all been slaughtered. The first 105 from Bamenda and Boya were slaughtered. That didn't even teach them a lesson. They kept going there. Do you know how many have been killed? We will never know until some journalists will investigate and tell us. But the world cannot accept this kind of attitude from La République. It's a war crime. You set a trap, deceive the other people, the enemy camp, and take their forces and kill them. That's a war crime.
And
they are increasing their lot, because let La République go up and down. All those defendants that were cited, plus more that we did not cite, will all be tried in the Hague. Let them keep trying.
That's amazing. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring SOS Zama to tell us a little bit on what they are doing, not necessarily their strategy. And there is this very important debate that has been ongoing. It is about diplomacy. Who is a diplomat? Who did Trump invite for his inauguration? That is, I would say that was unnecessary conversation. But it dawned on me that at the end of the day, our people in a larger scale may require some education.
A lot of education.
What is the importance that we need to place on this issue? We'll be having that conversation right after the break. Stay tuned.
Stand with Ambazonia. Empower ABC Amba TV. We are calling on Ambazonians around the world to unite and uplift ABC Amba TV, Ambazonian Broadcasting Corporation. In this critical time of war, ensuring the station's survival is more important than ever. But what does ABC Amba TV truly represent for Ambazonia?
At the heart of Ambazonia's war of independence, ABC Amba TV stands as a beacon. Years of recolonization, annexation, and French Cameroun's oppressive occupation of the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia have led to our exclusion. Our identity was hidden, our history distorted, our sovereignty denied.
Queen of England is aware that the British Southern Cameroons were never a colony under France.
Since its inception in 2018, ABC Amba TV has been our lifeline.
Months of diplomacy have failed to resolve the crisis as fear grows over an imminent Russian invasion of Ukraine.
Our work in the dark is our chance to tell our stories to the world, to give voice to the voiceless, and broadcast the truth of our struggle.
We are serious about executing this revolution.
It has become a vital arm of our government in wartime, making diplomacy achievable and showcasing our untold stories.
ABC Amba, you guys know how important ABC is for this, our quest for international recognition.
Your donations can make a world of difference. Every bit of support helps keep our stories alive, our presence known, and our fight in the global conversation.
The moment they notice that we are no longer on air, they think that, oh, maybe La Republic have succeeded. This is about Ambazonia. One thing we must always remember.
Where would we be without ABC Amba TV? Let's ensure we never have to find out.
A revolution is a temporary state of insanity to bring about sanity.
Mobilize, donate, stand with Ambazonia, donate to ABC Amba TV.
Together, let's write the next chapter of our history.
It is better to light the candle than to curse the dark.
Support ABC Amba TV campaign. Ambazonia Independence, voice for the voiceless. Mobilize for change.
You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you.
Hello Houston, Texas, this is Sinach, and I am excited that I have been invited to minister at the Shout Eid Abroad music concert taking place in Houston, Texas on the 7th of February 2025. It is going to be a time of worship, a time of praise, and I am looking forward to sharing my new music with you.
Everybody now, let's go.
The venue is at the Smart Financial Center, Sugarland, Texas. Make sure you pick up a ticket and bring your friends and your loved ones. It promises to be an amazing time in the presence of the Lord. I look forward to seeing you. God bless.
Victory is mine. My praise is strong, joy overflowing, more than a song. I'm celebrating in the midst of my enemies. I praise. I praise. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you.
Hello Houston, Texas, this is Sinach, and I am excited that I have been invited to minister at the Shout Eid Abroad music concert taking place in Houston, Texas on the 7th of February 2025. It is going to be a time of worship, a time of praise, and I am looking forward to sharing my new music with you.
Everybody now, let's go!
The venue is at the Smart Financial Center, Sugarland, Texas. Make sure you pick up a ticket and bring your friends and your loved ones. It promises to be an amazing time in the presence of the Lord. I look forward to seeing you. God bless.
Victory is my name. My praise is strong. Joy overflowing. More than a song. I'm celebrating in the midst of my enemies. I praise. You.
Okay, welcome back. Thank you for staying on. We have SOS Zama with us on the call. So I'm sure you've been watching us. Unfortunately, we could not have you connected. It's really unfortunate. I would have loved to have you for this panel. We've had an enriching conversation. We started on the media warfare, its importance. We now went into the war-torn zone, Ambazonia, the unrest, civilians being used by the colonial forces as a shield. We had to process the maneuver and the mishap or the misfortune, if I should put it that way, the ill acts of the colonial administration, inciting mayhem within the camp of our forces, recruiting black flags like the CPDM loyalists, the ADF fighters, the Tanganji boys, and at the end of the day, killing them in the DDR. So the question and the concern that Barrister Fru brought up, and I'm sure a lot of Ambazonians have exact same concern, is how is sanity, how is your department, how is the state army working towards ensuring that there's sanity, especially in the Midland zone, in Bamenda, in Mezam, to be precise. I understand that you guys are doing some work. You may not want to give strategic information publicly, but you may want to tell us exactly what is happening with defense as the year is still fresh. Talk to us, SOS Zama. The world is listening to you.
Thank you, Paddy. Thank you for inviting me again to the show. We just have to make Ambazonians to understand that we are at war, and the tricks that La Republique is using is not nothing new. They've learned it very well from the French. They've had their scourges, they're using spies, they're using what we call blacklegs to betray our own people. But I want to make it sure and certain to those who betray themselves and give up themselves. They don't want to fight the fight and they go back to the DDR. They're going to come back to the fight. They're going to be compelled to come back to the fight. And when you're coming back to the fight, you're not getting one gun training at you. There's a defense. The ASAs will be hunting you down because you are coming down as an enemy, and the enemy is actually at your rear, pushing you on to show where you are. But of course, there are always guns pointing at you too. So you have two guns instead of one pointing at you. So the odds is really not good for any person who gives up the fight. If you give up the fight and stay in the villages and do whatever you're doing, that's fine. But if you want to give up the fight and switch sides, you are valued like the enemy. You'll be shot at because you are coming to shoot them out. So you are an enemy, and you are an enemy number one when it comes to those situations. We are asking our people to stay away from their enemies. We will find you out. No matter if they protect you for 1 month with the armored cars, with all the anti-bullet vest, they will not be there forever. We have time and patience on our side. So they will not be there forever. Remember that whenever you are betraying a whole lot of people, you are betraying the Amazonians, you are betraying yourself. You are betraying your own. You are exposing your own self 2 times to death. And for those who do that, we tell you, give up, go get some respite, in our areas, stay out of the fight and rest. This fight, nobody is compelling you to come back to this fight. Nobody, the ASA does not compel you to come back to this fight. This fight is a volunteer army, and nobody is paid to do all what we do. So in case you want to get out of the fight, you can take a good rest, and we applaud you for that. Because we do need rest. Some of fighters have been fighting this fight for 8 years continuously every day. So if taking a rest is good. But if you want to take a rest in the DDR, you find yourself shot at somewhere, they carry your corpse and dump it somewhere, or you'll be shot in the field of battle. Those things are things that we've spoken about this over and over and over to our citizens. You may not necessarily be somebody who is fighting the fight. You may always be somebody who, in the old days, we used to call CID. You see and tell, and you betraying our people to the enemy. If you are betraying our people to the enemy, your days are numbered, because you will never stay undercover as you think you are. Those days are numbered, and we want to make our people to understand that. Give yourself the best chance. What do you have to lose? We've spent 60-something years with La Republique, and we've only had misery. See what's going on in Yaoundé. See how filthy is it. See what's going on in Wallace. Is that what we want to educate? Is that what we want to continue our lives to be? We have to break the cycle of misery. And the defense in Ambazonia are out there to help you. We are not out to hurt our population. These gentlemen and women are fighting for you. So betraying them is the least thing you want to do for them. You should be supporting them. Every person in Ambazonia should be raising funds, should be supporting them materially and morally to fight the enemy. We do not want any enemies that are within us. Those enemies within us are those that are much more frightening, because they know where we sleep, they know what we eat, when we eat, and who we talk to. So we just want to make our people understand that betraying our soldiers and our citizenship and our goal is tantamount to death. We may not know, the ASA may not kill you, but the enemy will kill you.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, the civilian population continue to be a victim. Today we spent a lot of time unveiling how they are victims of crossfire. I know you have a lot to say about that. We've seen Cameroun using GTHS Bamenda as a military base, and students while in class with teachers are finding difficulties even to operate normally. You have students, like I'm showing now, like we're showing on the air now, hiding under benches to get to operate. What do you have to say about that? When it comes to, we have a case now in the ICC. The war is keen, looking into the way the actors of the war conduct themselves. But this is actually a school campus, like you can find on the screen, which is a no-go area, like Barrister Fru is saying. We have the Cameroon army indiscriminately throwing bullets into classrooms.
That's the professional army that you have. That's what we have. We have a ragtag army of desperate people who've lived a miserable life in La Republique, and they are all out to kill. They are all killers. They've not been trained to kill, but because of desperation, they are doing all that. We want to tell our people, value what your life is an education for a year, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, worthy of you being dead. Some people may argue, oh, you guys say that because you are abroad, you have your children going to school. Incidentally, we are abroad. It doesn't mean that everybody should die in a war. It doesn't mean that you should be callous with your life to say, well, you want to get an education. What the hell is an education if you are dead with a PhD or with A levels pasted on your chest? You have an A level, 10 A levels, you're dead. What good does that do to you or your family? We want to make our citizens, especially the young people who understand, who read history, who are in school, who are educated, who are watching TikTok and all these things, they have more information than we did 20, 30, 40 years ago. But we find it difficult to make them have a grasp of what the enormity of this war is. Once that bullet has hit you, that is it. Once it hits your skull, that's it. There is no coming back. It's not like a bolo or a balloon that you can tie one end and blow it back up. Once it's burst, it's burst. Your brain is tossed, and you can't do much about it. I want to tell parents, insisting on your kids going to school, choosing death for living is deplorable to a point, but it's not every time we have to do this. If everybody civilian was fighting the enemy, they will not have that comfort. They will not have that solace. They will not have that support in our communities. But we give them drinks, put poison in their damn things, put whatever you have to put to give their soldiers. You are part of the fight. You are an army of civilians against the enemy. You cannot be harboring the enemy and thinking they will go away. You make it comfortable for them, they will be there. They will never go anywhere. If you make it difficult for them, they will leave. So it's a fight that we have to understand that it's a ramification. You don't have to put on a uniform. You don't have to have a gun to fight this fight. It's a psychological fight. It's a fight of moral fight, and we have to do all that in all realms of this fight. And we are calling on our civilians. The civilians are a larger force than the Ambazonian State Army that's fighting. We want your support. We want you guys to support the soldiers as auxiliary fighter. And as I said, that mommy who is selling that puff, you may see the army coming, you take your puff and go away with it. If you cannot sell it, if you cannot get it, peace inside, let them take it. Whatever you have to do, let them not have any welcoming. We are giving them a good mat. We are having the girls are sleeping with them. They are eating at restaurants. They are drinking and sitting and talking trash. And we accept it. We should not accept it. And we have to make them understand that we don't want to accept it. And until that point comes, we will lose lives, uselessly, needlessly, like these kids who are being caught in the crossfire. We are at war, and anytime you hear that gunshot, you duck. You go down flat on your belly and you roll away from the area. You are not lying down there and sleeping because they are not shooting and running away. They are shooting and coming towards you. So be careful what you do out there. We have said this over and over. When you hear a gunshot, if you are in the building, go down to the floor. I saw these kids hiding under the desk. What is wood? How is that going to prevent you from being shot? That thing goes through a cement block wall. It's going to get you in the classroom. So the lower you are, the more survivable you can get when it comes to these instances. And we are asking our parents, think twice and think which is worthy, the life of their children or an education that is still stunted, that is not material, that is not productive for their children when they get. What's the unemployment of youth unemployment in Cameroun or in Ambazonia? So we have to calculate all those things. And I will protect every kid like I do protect mine. And sometime at this point, it's what I'm talking in terms of advice.
Now you are talking about, like, I want to be what they call in French avocat du diable. Okay, you are talking about because we are in the diaspora, and you are talking about education. You're focused on having them stay at home, or maybe look for other means of education because you mentioned TikTok and so on and so forth. What about those who are recruits of Cameroon, like the Proxies, like ADF, like the CPDM loyalists, that go into people's houses, into their shops? What is that counsel you will give to them? We've seen images today with them because they do that and they say that the ASA, but we know that the ASA are not involved in such heinous acts. They are kidnapping and creating problem or between our people on daily basis. What do you have to say in this regard? What should the communities do, owing to the fact that every day they know those who are not their brothers and not their fighters, but strange bulos that come and put on civilian outfits, kidnapping them, maiming them, raping them on daily basis? What are you telling the community and the international community, most especially our local community, on how to protect themselves, and the international community that is watching with very tight lips?
Mr. Paddy, I think this is not the first day we are fighting this war. We are in the 8th year, going to the 9th year. of this war. And if anybody wants to pretend like they don't know what's going on or who is doing what in Amazonia, that's up to them. But we are taking it upon ourselves to inform our citizens that the enemy can dress, they can put a lipstick, they can do whatever if a pig is a pig, even if you put a lipstick or put a ring or a golden ring in their nose, they are still the same thing. We know how the Bulu soldiers come in. We know what they do. They speak English, they may speak Pidgin, but we know who is not ours. A shepherd knows what sheep is not theirs. And we have to talk to our citizens and talk to our parents to inform our kids, because they are the very ones who are being trapped into this trade. Because it's a trade. Because they will snap you out, they'll take you out and ask for ransom. They'll take you out. If the ransom is not large enough, they'll kill you and still ransom. So it's a question of do not let yourself in a position where you can be kidnapped or whatnot. Even though everywhere it's all danger everywhere, but we want to make our people to understand that the more exposed you are to the enemy, the likelihood you will be kidnapped. The Atanganji boys makes things even more complicated, or the ADFs make things more complicated because they are a proxy force. They work in La Republique and they'll say, oh, La Republique people, they've shot this or that. We never see any fight that they've killed a B or a Cameroon army. They always say, we always hear say, we have to be much more mindful of how we deal with the enemy. We have to watch ourselves from the enemy within which the ADF and all the Atanganji boys are. And we have to rat them out, smoke them out. We have to take them out and do what we must do. We cannot keep insisting that, oh, we cannot go after people from our own region because they are worse than the enemy. If your brother is trying to shoot you, what do? You bow down and get beat for trying to shoot you. You do what you must do. If you have the person who triggers first, so be it. But I'm telling our citizens to protect themselves. I'm telling our citizens to be much more confrontational when it comes to dealing with this war. We've been so docile. Oh, I don't like me that una thing. Well, this una thing is 8 years and 9 years going, and it's not stopping. And it's not una thing because it's everybody's thing. If you want to think that is just your thing, let them spray a bullet in your neighborhood and you stand and say, well, I'm not there for this thing and let's see what happens to you. So it's a combined effort. It's not an individual, it's not a small minority like people say, oh, the Ambazonian Defense Force or Ambazonian State Army. It's a fringe unit, it's a fringe few people who are just disgruntled. What are we not disgruntled about? If you know about what West Cameroon used to be, if you understand how West Cameroon used to be clean, you know how orderly it was. What is it not to be nostalgic about? We have a frame of reference that the La Republique citizens don't have. We have a frame of reference. We have a culture that they don't have. And we have to understand that. That's what the difference that we are. That's the difference that makes us a people who is straight up, who is forthright, and these people are so corrupting, so manipulative, they're full of all thieveries and bribe takers. They will never relent if you keep giving it. We've told people don't give them any money. Well, 9 out of 10 times, you give them, they'll kill you. You don't give them, they'll kill you. So at the end of the day, we have to tell our people, and we are telling our citizens to avoid those areas where they are, because those areas where they are magnets for our soldiers to go out for an attack on them. So if you find yourself trading with them and selling them stuff and laughing and giggling with them, you are giggling at your own expense, because a bullet coming to that guy may go through you before you go through to the guy who's being shot. And that's not the intended, you are not the intended person, but you are just a casualty of war. And those things happen. Don't make yourself a casualty. That's what I say.
Amazing. Wow. So as it is right now, I want us to conclude with you on this. I understand that the ASA is doing a tremendous work. Barrister Fru, you want to make a comment or something?
I want to say that he has said it all. If you listen very carefully, he has said it all. We will smoke them. So we don't need to go any further because it's a security type of thing, and you don't expect the SOS to give you the details. Thank you.
Okay, SOS, the last question I wanted to ask, I think Barrister Fru has started there. I know you guys are doing a tremendous work. Don't give me any strategy yet to make sure that you can clean, especially the Midland zone. Is it gaining traction? Can you assure the people watching us that there's hope? There's hope for them, and you guys have the map in your hand and capable of controlling it.
I'm telling people, you know, when we were young, we used to go to the fish pond where the main market is, or the food market is now. We used to go stand there and throw stones into the pond and see how it has a rippling effect. Once it hits the middle, it starts rippling towards the shore or towards the borders of the top. But what we are doing, we are going to go from the periphery to the center. There are some bigger cities that it's going to be, operations are not going to be as manifest as cities in the rural areas because we have a wider area and people are not as sparsely populated than they are in the big cities. You have to calculate a lot of calculations in terms of casualties for civilians and all of that. So a lot of our actions in the biggest cities, like in Bamenda and Kumba and Buea, Victoria, are much more surgical. They are much more nuanced. You might not hear a gun. You might not see. It doesn't mean that, as I said, it doesn't mean that the war is not going on. The war is going on, and they keep saying that, oh, everything is done. We are just cleaning up, and every year, every month, they are adding more soldiers. They are bringing more soldiers. Their soldiers are dying and some decapitated, amputated, and they will never come. They will never be humans again. And most of them are dying in the bush. I quite remember this guy, the Orange Manto. He stopped counting their death when they were 1,500. That was like 5 years ago. So if they don't want to make the numbers, that's up to them. The families know that their family members have died or they've been killed in Ambazonia, and they keep providing these so-called jobs with premiums that they're going to give them when they come back. A lot of them will not come back. A lot of them don't go back. And we want to make our citizens understand that the mere fact that they are not seeing our soldiers running in town does not mean that there are no soldiers in Bamenda. There are no soldiers in Mancon going around. Sometimes there's a scoping for weeks and weeks for one thing or two things to happen. That takes that has a cascading effect. We have to have that rippling effect that I said, as you throw a stone in the pond, but we have to go from outside in, not inside out.
Amazing. Thank you very much, SOS Zama. It was, I think, your presence in this program, though via through an audio call, has been quite refreshing. I guess that was what was needed. That was an extra ingredient that was needed to make the show. I hope next week I'll have you on video. I could work with you way ahead of time to set up your system. I know you are restructuring. It's been a while you have not been with us. I wish that we'll be able to get you connected and connected much better next time. Thank you for joining the show.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So, fellow Ambazonians, this has been Ambazonia this week so far, and we have not ended yet. We're still making progress. Right now, we want to talk about something that is what has how do I even start? Where do I even start? But this is what has been an unnecessary debate in our forums for quite a while. Let me make this correspondence. Okay, I want to make this correspondence so that they can allow me to finish this program. Sorry about that, please. It is an unnecessary debate. You had all sides of it. I'm not just here to take a side, but I'm here to, first of all, have an overview of the situation. and to see if there was a need for that discussion. It's like Cho Ayaba, who started by claiming responsibilities on the ground, started overdoing because he wanted to show relevance. It appears to me that a couple of people in the diaspora might be adopting that same conduct, and there is really no reason for that. So, by Fru, before we get even into the debate, I want to try to have us have an overview perspective of who a diplomat is. Who is a diplomat during a time of war? So during a time of war, a diplomat serves as a primary agent of communication, negotiation, and conflict resolution. Now, their role is critical in mediating tensions. Take note of the words, tensions, facilitating peace, at least within your team, and ensuring that the country's interests are represented in international forums. Now, in war times, especially having a diplomatic, loyal constitution and institution, it is essential for multiple reasons. Let me explain. Now, credibility and trust. You can't do diplomacy without an institution like the government. It will not be effective. Diplomatic commitment and constitution and institutions represent a legitimate interest of a people, of a nation, instilling trust. Now, Ambazonia is not fighting for secession, or it's not fighting for federation within Cameroon. And therefore, if they are fighting for a separate nation, there is need for an institutional framework that is respected by all. There should be coherent representation. A loyal diplomat ensures a unified and coherent representation of countries' policies and objectives, reducing the risks of mixed messages and undetermining government stance. For instance, what are you representing in any diplomatic outreach? Are you representing self, or are you representing government? A diplomat complies with international law, upholding constitutional values. Institution aligns to country with international law and norms. Now, the government of Ambazonia has been structured in such a way that we have laws that respect the Geneva Convention, that respect even basic human rights. And therefore, if you are not loyal to this constitution, it's amazing. You have domestic stability. It's how stable is your institution, is your government. How do you value and uphold to the rule of law and institutional integrity, even in turbulent times? Now, in the context of Ambazonia, to be very specific, an unrecognized country that has been denied of its own right of independence, the role of a diplomat becomes even more nuanced. Take note, the territory has been experiencing a war for over 8 years, and we'll spend time today just talking about the war. Our nation, unfortunately, in 1961, was brutally invaded by Ijo, and since then there's been a systematic progression of assimilation, an attempt to annihilate us forever. So for us to get legitimacy and recognition, diplomats will have to play a very critical role in garnering international recognition. It has to do with our comportment. For instance, let's say you're a cabinet member or you're a government official, or at whatever level. The way you represent yourself is more important than even the diplomatic outreach. Institution building. A person who sees himself or calls himself a diplomat must understand that they play a critical role in building an institution. You cannot be creating a proxy television and at the same time calling yourself a diplomat. That's a paradox. It's a misconception. And where there is misconception, there is misrepresentation. A lot of you in this struggle do not know Professor Ayim. I happen to have known him when I was a baby. He was a friend. Professor Ayim was a friend of my father. He was one of the rare, he had played soccer. He used to play in PWD. My father was one of the founders of PWD when Professor Ayim was a player. Before he finally left Cameroun, joined the SCNCO, the movement. Professor Ayim was one of the rare Southern Cameroonians who advocated for the Banjul case. If you ask Professor Ayim today, I'm reading some of his books and some of the things they've done. One of the challenges they faced at the time was mostly institutional. They hoped in their day that we have an institution like the institution we have today. So as diplomats at that time, they understood that the major limitation was the structure we have today. The reason why President Sako is doing what within just a few years, what it took them 20 years not to be able to achieve, is not necessarily because he's more intelligent than them. There could be a chance, because the Bible says there is the glory of the latter house. There could be a chance that he has a better wisdom. But it's because we have evolved into an institution. We have taken the audacity to restore a government that gives us credibility when we come in contact with diplomats. So let me focus on what has happened so far, so that we can get into the debate or the dialogue with Barrister Fru. I understand that certain individuals of government, of the two sides of political wings in America, you have the Democrats and Republicans, have been participating effectively in their parties. On the side of the Democratic Party, I know of Dr. Patience, who for several years has been working very closely with lovers of Democrats, has been donating hundreds and thousands of dollars. Now, if the Democrats had won these elections through her diplomatic outreaches, she probably would have been invited for the inauguration through the agencies where she has been doing her diplomacy. I understand Dr. Tita and some others have been working with the Black Caucus and also donating to the Republicans. It is evident that for some reasons the Republicans have won. They will definitely invite those who were their donors or who funded campaigns. Does it make you more important than the Democrats who funded the Democratic Party and it didn't win? Does it make you a better diplomat than them? I don't think so. Does it make you even a diplomat that you funded a campaign and you were given an invitation to participate in? You were given an invitation to participate. I'm sorry for that interruption. You were given an invitation to come to Washington during the inauguration. Does it mean that Ambazonia will suddenly be free because of that? No. I'm not going to give to you certain details of what the government is doing as an institution. There is no single day. I can tell you, President Sako has attended dozens, more than 100 meetings since last year, August into December, with senators, congressmen, members of the Black Caucus, members of the Office of the President, advocating for the nation of Ambazonia, not as Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako, but as the leader of the liberation movement. And it is a disservice to you who has the possibility probably to use your money to lobby for you to go as an individual. Because I heard an audio of someone that is supposedly a government official talking stupid. And I'm like, this is an apology. And if you actually understand diplomacy, you will know that your action as an individual is foolishness. It has never worked before. It will not work today. It will not work in the future. But if you align yourself under an institution that is already gaining ground in America, the current person at the State Department now, Marcos Rubio, had a meeting with the president. Dr. Mungwa said it. And Dr. Mungwa is a man of very high integrity that he has no reason to come and lie to you. The president mentioned him in his speech, not by an error. I thought that we needed this education. Now, diplomatic efforts can be done by anybody. People like Mbeseha know the diplomatic efforts I did at the time when a lot of Ambazonians never knew me. I was not on the TV. I took my case, fighting for my case as a refugee, and I transformed it into diplomacy. And because of that, a lot of things happened. A lot of wonderful things happened. So what am I trying to tell? What am I saying to us now? I'm saying that anybody can undergo a diplomatic outreach. Any Ambazonian. You heard Professor Hines actually advising us all that we should contact our congressmen. You can send letters. You can also participate if you are a citizen in America, participate effectively in the partisan politics so that you create avenues where a conversation about our plight is brought up. Does that make you a diplomat? Maybe it's Barrister Fru that would have to answer that portion of the question. I thought that this explanation was necessary. Please talk to us, sir.
In the real sense of the word diplomat, the fact that you can go and meet a congressman when you are not a trained diplomat, or you don't act like a trained diplomat, that doesn't make you a diplomat. Let me tell you, a diplomat, you don't need to be trained. If you are sitting on the seat of a diplomat to represent your country, you have to, first of all, learn how to communicate. You mentioned it, Paddy, when you started, said communication is number one tool that a diplomat must have. You must communicate the policies of your country with clarity. I'm not talking about your accent. Your accent is an African accent, doesn't make a difference. I'm talking about speaking with clarity and in good language. Even if your mother tongue affects your pronunciation, that is not a problem. You cannot be a diplomat and appointed by an institutional head, somebody who leads an institution, and you disparage that person and begin to give credence to people who have done nothing other than sit in a bar and talk. That is not diplomacy. You must speak to whoever you are meeting, who is of a different country, who has power to change your narrative or to change your situation. You must speak with clarity. and in good language. A country cannot have a diplomat who goes in front of another diplomat or another or minister of a country or another person who can make decisions that will affect him, and he starts saying, and your whole sentence is full of means you are not serious. You don't even know what you're talking about. And a diplomat must respect the hierarchy of the institution he's coming from the government that you're coming from. You cannot be a foreign minister and go somewhere or sit and make declarations against the very institution that has appointed you. You are not doing diplomacy. You are working for yourself, and you are not speaking good language. You are a disgrace to whichever institution sent you. And the fact that you are a member of a political party does not make you a diplomat. I want to argue that any head of an institution, that's the president of the republic, the president of a country, is first developed diplomatic language and can do diplomacy. He can negotiate on behalf of his country. The case of Dr. Sako is very clear. Dr. Sako is doing diplomacy now excellently, even though his training is not in diplomacy, because he understands, he communicates with clarity, he understands the problem of his people, he is the leader of his people, he manages an institution, and he speaks with some decorum. You will not hear him say words that are degrading. He will speak with clarity and in concise language so that the person listening to him can understand where he's coming from and what he wants. Another person that I can cite, that I can say he would have been a good diplomat, is Professor Ayim. He communicates with clarity. He gives you the points one by one. If you look at the way he managed the global push, that is the work of a diplomat. With clarity and with engagement, without speaking against anybody. That is the type of person that I can classify as a diplomat. You, Paddy, you speak with clarity and with such force, and you can make your point known to the person listening without any difficulty. And you can present the policies of your country and what your country went through and the problem that your country had, the war that you are fighting, and everything. You speak with clarity and in good language. Even if your condemned accent is interfering, that's not a problem. The person understands you. If a Chinese speaks English, he may speak with Chinese accent. You cannot question that. But
I actually
he
have
will speak
a accent or a Mancon accent. Do you know that I have?
Oh yes, Yeah. And a Chinese will communicate with clarity and with precision. You put forth the problem that your country has, the policies of your country, the strategy of your government, what your government is doing, and you need help from this country or from that organization or that organization. That is a diplomat. But I cannot fathom what you will sit in a bar in Washington, D.C., and some so-called diplomat calls you and said, I will die supporting you, this person, you, that person, you, that person, you, that person, because you will liberate Ambazonia. And you call yourself a diplomat, and you disparage the head of the institution that appointed you. Does it make any sense as a diplomat? What are you going to tell somebody of another country sitting in front of him, and your language is you continue, you know. If you use 3, 4, 5 you knows in front of me, I stop listening to you because I don't understand what you're talking about. That is what I consider diplomacy.
Now the idea of this conversation.
Listen, Paddy. Yeah. There are people who have never been to school of diplomacy, who have been appointed foreign ministers, and they do diplomacy much more, even better than those who are trained diplomats. Diplomats are trained to handle certain positions, certain tasks, certain programs, or certain. It's a technical thing, but yes, but a head of a country or a foreign minister of a country should speak with clarity and with decorum to whoever is listening, and never make disparaging statements in front of another diplomat or a head of another country listening to you. You look like an idiot. I really don't understand what is going on, but we will know in a few days what is going on. But let me also make a last statement. The last statement. Among the African heads of states and leaders, only Dr. Sako was invited officially to the inauguration of President Trump. I can tell you that he had an invitation from the vice president elect, and the vice president elect would not give that invitation without clearance from the president. No African head of state was invited to that inauguration, and no other person was invited. All those people you saw sitting in a bar or making noise that they have been invited and going around and dancing all over the place, they never got to the inauguration ground. They were more than 10 miles or more than 20 miles away from the inauguration. They were never invited. By the way, Ayabacho and his organization should know that they are a terrorist organization, and Ayabacho himself is on a no-flight zone, and he's not alone. There are many others of his militants who are on a no-flight zone. So why would you expect the United States to invite people like that? But we see on social media, you saw it. You saw all the nonsense that they were trying to do, but they never got anywhere near Washington.
You see,
that is it. I want to think that. I want to think. Listen, let me finish. I want to think that Ambazonians are very educated, but no. Guess. Look at this. Those who come to this country and other countries may not be the cream of the educated Ambazonians, because we still have the cream of our people on the home front. I'm not saying this to disparage anybody, but I'm saying that
or the loud speakers, or those who make a lot of noise, are not really even within the government. Those who make a lot of noise.
Within the government. That's why before they give you a portfolio in this government going forward, we must verify your qualifications, because there are a lot of people carrying the doctor that don't mean anything.
Unfortunate.
I studied in this country, so I know the mentality of people. I went to law school here. I practiced law here for a year before going to Douala, and I know exactly who is who. A lot of these people you see running around wearing country clothes and so on, and claiming they are this and that, they may not exactly be. That's why before you are given a portfolio, we must know your physiology. We must know your qualifications, where you studied, and what you did. It is not by mistake that in the United States, most of the people in Congress are lawyers. Almost 98% are lawyers. In the Senate, the same thing. In government, the same thing. Because lawyers are prioritized because of their powerful communication skills.
Level of logical thinking. If there's
logical thinking, and the ability to speak truth to power and with clarity. To speak decently, because that's what you are expected to do in court. You cannot go to court and start telling the judge, you know, my lord, I did this, you know, I did this, you know. The judge will stop listening to you, and that's the end of your case.
Yeah.
In any language, Chinese, French, Portuguese, anything. So we need a lot of cleaning up to do in this cabinet. I've raised my case.
Yes, so this is very important, very, very important that we had to bring this conversation.
Sorry, I forgot the third person. Outside of Professor Ayim, you have Dr. Mungwa. He communicates with clarity and with a purpose. Even though he's an engineer. Most of my engineer friends don't speak good English, but Dr. Mungwa is a different engineer. He communicates with clarity and he can be a good diplomat. That's all I'm saying. I just gave those four examples for you to know, to get what I'm talking about.
Mr. Mbeseha
is one of them. Barrister Mbeseha is one of them. He communicates with clarity and with purpose, and he is very measured when he speaks.
The truth about it is that he has the experience when he has been able to speak at when you had France and Cote d'Ivoire doing all the fraud. He has been an actor on the field. I really miss him for this conversation.
Exactly.
Actually on the flight now, you and I know that he was in Kenya. He's coming back. He's already around the United States.
Yes. He was traveling. He started traveling yesterday. He should be arriving later today. Yes. You know, it's about 3 hours away from us here. So the flight is going to the flight thing is delayed. He will just be getting here late at night.
Yeah. So why is this conversation very important, Barrister Fru? It is not in any way to water down any individual efforts, but it's just a way we use this platform to give counseling, either directly or indirectly, either to members of government or the Ambazonian people, and orientate our people not to worry themselves about trivialities. The truth is,
correct.
Whatever you're doing as an individual cannot bear sufficient fruits. Your predecessors did it. You had the lawyer in London, the father of Ambazonia, His Royal Highness
Gojidinka.
You had the Professor Arims. You had the Pa Augustine Dangam. You had many of these. These were
those are people who communicate. Those are people who communicate, who speak diplomatic language, who communicate with clarity.
These are people who have gone through different phases of diplomacy for decades, and they came to one understanding that there is a need for us to have an institution. All of them agree that at this phase of our diplomatic effort, we
must have an institution.
These names have taught you. And Ambazonia, what we have now, they said you need to treasure what you have. The government that we have, as led by President Sako, is the highest treasure that's existing.
Yep.
There's nothing Ambazonia has right now better than this government. Now, if this government by any means Cameroon successfully, which I know is not going to be possible, destroys it, it might take us another 300 years. There will be no story.
Some of us may never live. Some of us may never live to see it. That's it.
The truth is it, Barrister Fru, is that in this conversation, I want to enforce on this. The truth in this conversation, and I'm going to say some things very, very hard here right now. The truth of this is, we must understand that this government is a treasure that must be protected by all and sundry.
Correct. Correct.
You cannot be successful in any diplomatic. If you are thinking as a diplomatic aspirant that you have any success you can attain, look at this other man from Momo that is in the UN. He can only work under Cameroon. He cannot have any achievement or cannot be given the audience if it is not under an institution. He went there one time and was ranting, defining our case. So it is important for us to adhere to that. You cannot be creating a proxy television and then you say you're a diplomat.
No way.
Television agenda is to fight the leadership of President Sako, probably because things didn't work your way and you call yourself a diplomat. Maybe you should create a private television. Don't call it, I hear the name is an Ambazonia Radio and Television. You see, a manifestation of primitivity. That's a manifestation of primitivity. And I'm saying this to the government. I'm going to put this, what I'm saying now, Barrister Fru. I'll send that to your office, to the office of the president, as an official notice coming from me, Tarh Paddy, that if I hear there are rumors that certain members of government are affiliated or associated with that platform, if any member of government directly or indirectly is patronizing that platform, they should be dismissed from government with immediate effect. Yes, because there is no reason. The government cannot keep them. The only way, if it is a rumor, if your name features, it is a rumor that you are part of that platform, the only way is for you to officially
denounce it.
If you don't denounce it,
we take it that you are part of it.
No, that means you are a part of it. Yes.
Correct.
So, and you cannot be a part of the government at any capacity, whether as a chair of ethics or a chair of the judiciary arm, or as a speaker of the house, or a secretary of state in the cabinet, and be a part of that platform.
Attorney General in the cabinet.
Attorney General in the cabinet, and you are a part there. No, it's not possible. If you are a part of it, you will denounce the platform, or you will join the platform entirely, and you cannot be a part of government. It's not possible.
Correct.
That's something the government, I don't want to say the president, because resting it on the shoulder of the president could make it a little bit challenging. You must be dismissed from government. That means that's the last straw on the camel's back.
Having said that, Paddy, having said that, I want to caution you that we're in a revolution. And the leader of this revolution has come up with a policy that works.
Yes.
What do? We just make you irrelevant. No assignment, nothing. You don't do anything. You don't meet anybody. You don't talk to nobody. You may carry the name around that you are this and that. That is rubbish. Because we don't want you to go out there and create another faction to start fighting us. So what do? We just make you irrelevant and leave you the title. You can go ahead and play your drums, and those who dance can dance. That is the best way in a revolution. You know, In the other one is the other method is extreme. Let me give you an example. If Yasser Arafat did not kill Abdul Nasser, the Palestinians would never have had a homeland, even though their homeland is fragmented. At least they are in Ramallah, in the West Bank, and in Gaza, thanks to the Yasser Arafat and his team. So what I'm trying to say is that in a revolution, you have to be careful not to create enemy institutions by your actions. And our leader has understood that very clearly. But that doesn't mean that he cannot fire you when he needs to. But he can. But he may, for peace and tranquility, he may just decide to, and if you are a problem for us getting to Boya, you clip your wings. And that's it. We don't need to make history by firing people and they go on this their so-called bloggers and so-called social media and make noise and say, okay, we will now.
Here's the downside. Here's the downside of such. And I think we're adopting that policy or strategy because of the experiences. But here's the downside.
Yes.
Which is scientific. And I think science must be calculated in any thought. That's why they call it political science. Science is a strategy, is a thought process that is imperative. Here is it, Barrister Fru. Science has it that you don't play with cancerous cells. That is why when
you're right. No, hold on. When it gets to the cancerous cells, then you must excise them.
You must get it out.
Exactly.
Because if not,
you must get it. You must get it out.
The president has tolerated a lot of things for Ambazonians are knowing it just recently. I made an audio on one of the forums and I said, this has been on for more than 2 years. It started with me. Their claim was me. When I saw that they couldn't take this platform, I took certain stance.
Correct.
Sometimes, at a particular time, the government, people like Ma Midred and members of the Patron can tell you that the government was not happy with the stance I took. But I was doing it. Barrister Fru, my name is nowhere in this ABC here. Like today.
Oh, yes.
No. To remove it. I'm not hijacking anything. I said I took some stance because I saw it coming. And I'm like, the fight I fought Chris Ano, I'm not going to fight this fight again. So the stance I took is proactively just annihilating those who were spoilers. They got offended, they misinformed Ambazonians by telling Ambazonians that we have created a group of people that are now funding and doing something. We have created a group of families trying to sabotage the efforts of the people that were forming the TV. They created a group to say that I've created shadow workers for ABC. They created a fraud to say that we are overpaying our staff, whereas what we're paying was what was agreed by them, and which was smaller than what they were spending before we came in. They did everything. You had a man and his wife who went and started lying that I have stopped them from the TV. That's not true. I remember me being the one calling them to create programs. You had meetings, town hall upon town halls, people actually creating lie after another. What lies? Then they went to started calling donors to stop them from giving money to ABC, on and on and on and on and on. And when they failed entirely, because I knew that the TV was not that, the TV was not them. I knew what it meant to get the TV going, and we went on that and got the TV going. And now when they couldn't fail, they could not succeed, They took us Ambazonians and insulted us all, took our constitution or orders in council and put it on our face and told us that we have manipulated it. And then it became a issue. So before the year ended last year, they were trying to justify the reason for hijacking the website, basing their claims constitutionally. Unfortunately, none of them were sound enough to interpret the processes that led to the evolution.
Correct.
So we have been insulted very badly by these people. Now,
but you did what you had to do to protect this network.
This network. As we speak right now, because if they could have this platform, they will not create another platform. We would have been in a situation whereby I had to come on air to kick. I actually kicked Chris Anu on air the day he came. I was talking against the president on TV, on television. I was the one who kicked him off air.
Yeah,
I kicked him on the platform. I kicked Abongwa out. That is something I will never do to anybody that comes on the platform to speak. If you're not talking maybe directly against the government, or you're not talking against the president, I can't do that. Your opinion is your opinion, and the platform is not liable. But we cannot have a television that comes and talks against the government. The day I feel that I want to start talking against President Sako and against this government, I will tender my resignation. Simple. I have the right on my platform to talk about what I want. I cannot come on this TV. First of all, it is a primitive behavior. If these guys could go this far, you saw the audios, they were insulting the president, meaning that if they had control of this platform, they will come on.
Yeah, and insult the president.
Which is
that's what I call that's what I call disparaging the leader, the very person who appointed you.
Yeah. In Cameroon, that's a treason. Bia will smoke and disappear you. There's no prison for you. They cannot even put you in prison. So my opinion is major things of government like websites, television will be fully managed not by typically Ambazonians, but people that you can use the law to prosecute them. Until we have law enforcement in Ambazonia, I will never ever agree again that an Ambazonian has a central role. In fact, that's my advice. If the government can choose to take it, because I'm not sure, I will not advise for any reason that an Ambazonian, who have learned a lot of lessons, plays a central role in holy what they call keys. They were manipulating some people, and you had even top members of government who got confused by the manipulation of keys. If you don't know how to be a website, you think that anything that these guys were saying made some sense. It was all about foolishness. It's about giving a way of protecting the website. So we have really had a long day, Barrister Fru. Maybe you want to say some last words before we conclude.
Yes, my last word is that let me make a difference. Diplomacy in a democracy is different from diplomacy in the dictatorial governments. But they all communicate well and put their point to whoever they are speaking. And when a dictator comes to a diplomat in a democracy, he changes like a chameleon. That is the difference. That is what I wanted to say. And thank you, Paddy, for another evening. We have had a very fruitful evening. We are hoping that Barrister Mbeseha will join us next week, and we'll continue to do the work we do for our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. So, diplomacy, just to add to what Barrister Fru would have said, diplomacy during a time of war is also strategically and obligatorily different from diplomacy with the people that are not fighting war. We need to be very cautious with our strategies. We appreciate every effort a person has done. Maybe you used your money as a tool or an instrument to create pathways for Ambazonia. Congratulations. Don't stop. Keep doing it. But it will be an effort in futility if you miss out on the institutional frameworks that are required to pilot those efforts in high offices. You rather just would have saved your money in a bank. You should know that. And I'm calling all those who are watching us from the home front. I've received a couple of videos. We'll be sharing them from tomorrow Monday or from tomorrow Sunday. Do us the favor. Send videos of you watching ABC from your houses. Saturate the media with it. That's the best way to debunk the nonsense. I have a couple of videos. I'm going to share them from the home front with people. Somebody just wrote from Bamenda. I am in Bamenda now and I'm watching you. These people sometimes don't have good internet. So without ABC and the satellite, it's difficult for them. So you who is watching us in Bengui, in Batibo, in Manu, in Furawa, in Bui, in wherever in Bamenda or in Ambazonia, just film it and send it. Put it on social media. No, don't put it with your account on social media. Send it to us. We'll share it. Because if you do that, the enemy will come after you. Thank you very much, fellow Ambazonians, for tuning into this program. It's time for us to call it a day. It's been a very, 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 very long evening. Until next time, I'm Tarh Paddy. Good night. Bye-bye.
You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you.
Hello Houston, Texas, this is Sinach, and I am excited that I have been invited to minister at the Shout Eid Abroad music concert taking place in Houston, Texas on the 7th of February 2025. It is going to be a time of worship, a time of praise, and I am looking forward to sharing my new music with you.
Everybody now, let's go.
The venue is at the Smart Financial Center, Sugarland, Texas. Make sure you pick up a ticket and bring your friends and your loved ones. It promises to be an amazing time in the presence of the Lord. I look forward to seeing you. God bless.
Victory is my name. My praise is strong. Joy overflowing. More than a song. I'm celebrating in the midst of my enemies. I praise. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you.
Hello Houston, Texas, this is Sinach, and I am excited that I have been invited to minister at the Shout Eid Abroad music concert taking place in Houston, Texas on the 7th of February 2025. It is going to be a time of worship, a time of praise, and I am looking forward to sharing my new music with you.
Everybody now, let's go.
The venue is at the Smart Financial Center, Sugarland, Texas. Make sure you pick up a ticket and bring your friends and your loved ones. It promises to be an amazing time in the presence of the Lord. I look forward to seeing you. God bless.
Victory is my name. My praise is strong. Joy overflowing. More than a song. I'm celebrating in the midst of my enemies. I praise. the midst of my enemies, I praise. In the midst of my enemies, I praise, I praise. I put on my dancing shoes. There's no way that I can lose. I'll be the last one standing. I'll be the last one standing. My name, my name. Victory is my name, my name. My name, my name. Victory is my name, my name. My name, my name. Victory is my name. Victory is my name, my name. Victory is my name. Goodness and mercy follows me all my days, all my days. Goodness and mercy follows me all my days, all my days. Up ahead and behind, on the left, on the right. Up ahead and behind, on the left, on the right. Say, goodness and mercy follows me all my days, all my days. Goodness and mercy follows me all my days, all my days. Up ahead and on the left, on the right. Up ahead, on the left, in the midst of my enemies. Wave those hands, come on. In the midst of my enemies, I pray, I pray. I put on my dancing shoes. There's no way that I can lose. I'll be the last one standing. I'll be the last one standing. I put on my dancing shoes. There's no way that I can lose. I'll be the last one standing. I'll be the last one standing. Monday, Monday, hey, yeah, yeah. Victory is mine, Monday. Hey, Monday, Monday. Victory is mine. Victory is mine, Monday. Favor is mine. Hey, yeah. Favor. Favor is mine. Monday, miracle is mine. Miracle is mine. Monday. Blessing is mine. Blessing is mine. Monday. Blessing is mine. Blessing is mine. Monday. Wealth is Monday. Blessing is Monday. Come on. Up ahead and behind, on the left. Come on. Up ahead and behind, on the left and the right. Hey. Up ahead and behind. Blessings around you. Come on. Say. Up ahead and behind, on the left and the right. Up ahead and behind. Come on. On the left and the right. Up ahead and behind, on the left and the right. Up ahead. Can we go louder, louder, louder? I'm ahead, I'm behind, on the left, on the right. Come on, ladies. I'm ahead, I'm behind, on the left, on the right. I'm ahead, I'm behind, on the left, and the right. Hey! My praise is strong, joy overflowing, more than a song. Come on, I'm celebrating in the midst of my enemies. I'll praise. Come on, in the midst of my enemies, I'll praise. I'll praise. Come on, I'll put on my dancing shoes. There's no way that I can lose. I'll be the last one standing. I'll be the last one standing.